Topping news tonight, Grand Bahamians, long driven away by economic hardships, are finally returning home as major investments reshape the island. It's a homecoming the Minister for Grand Bahama says was long anticipated. More details in tonight's top story.
I'm coming home, 'cause I've been gone too long. I'm coming home.
For the past 2 years or so, a bit longer, I've been encouraging Grand Bahamians to return home. So much so that we introduced the welcoming home, events.
For years, Grand Bahama saw what many described as a mass exodus. Struggling through back-to-back natural disasters and a weak economy, residents left the island not out of choice, but out of necessity, seeking work on private keys and in other islands to stay afloat. Now, with over $3 billion in investments pouring into the island, the tide is beginning to turn. Grand Bahamians are returning home and jobs are following. But as this shift unfolds, Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Moxey, says questions are being raised about what's next for the private keys that depended on those workers.
We have heard from some individuals, especially on some of the private keys, that they've been saying that with all of the development happening here, Grand Bahamians are resigning and returning home, and so that, I guess, creates another issue.
One major boost came recently as over 600 workers were hired at Carnival's Celebration Key. With the government touting the lowest unemployment number since 2008, Moxey expects that trend to continue, signaling that it's just the beginning. Amid investments in the tourism, industrial, and entrepreneurial space, she says the push now is to ensure that locals take full advantage of what she believes is clearly unfolding.
One of the questions that is always posed to me by developers is, with all of the development going on right now, will we have the capacity to be able to, sustain what's going on? And that's why I made the clarion call. I knew that today would come, and so that's why I started to encourage Grand Bahamians to return home, to prepare anyway to return home, and they are returning home. So it's a great time for Grand Bahama Island.